fangirls and boys, this is Natalie and you're watching Whole Lotta Love. And for today's video, I am doing a first impressions on the Black Moon Cosmetics Orb of Light Full Moon Eyeshadow Palette. This is a gorgeous palette which retails for $48. And this is what the outer packaging looks like. It has really cool holographic kind of calligraphy type writing on it, plastic packaging. As you can see, the inside has a bunch of really grungy, smoky, warm tones, cool tones, anything that you would need for a complete matte look. So if you are interested in my first impressions, where I do a full eyeshadow look and thoughts on this palette, then keep on watching. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have the Black Moon Cosmetics Orb of Light Full Moon palette here, and I'm going to try it for the very first time on camera. I am super excited about this. This palette has a really beautiful half moon design. I guess when you open it up, it's kind of like a full moon, but in and of itself, I see it more as a half moon. Anyway, so this is what the palette looks like. It is very neutral. It's like more of like grungy neutrals, I would say. You have that sweet mustard color, the black. I feel like this is a very grungy palette. I've heard a couple of complaints that this is really boring and basic and every brand comes out with this, but this is Black Moon's first powder eyeshadow palette, so I think it makes sense for them to come out with something like this, and I feel like this is a very intense color scheme for being a neutral color scheme. You're gonna get a lot of saturated looks out of this, so I'm really excited to try this. So we're just gonna go ahead and have some fun here. I also got a free gift with purchase. They might still be available to order, I'm not sure, but I got this Black Moon eyeshadow brush. It's like a fluffy blending or shading kind of brush. It's not really a, I guess you could use it as a blending brush, but it kind of angles, so I would see it more as like a packing on eyeshadow kind of brush. It has a pretty ombre design on it, like a oil slick black to like green to red, black to green to purple, oil slick kind of design, so it is pretty. It's a little reminiscent of the Kat Von D brushes. This one is a little lightweight, so it's not super high-end quality feeling, but the brush itself feels soft and nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this and get started on my eye look. I wanna start with the shade in the middle, the largest shade, which is called New. This is like a warm, creamy kind of color. It's not super light. For a light skin tone, this isn't a super light highlighting shade. It's pretty comparable to my skin tone, but it is good to set down the primer that I have on my eyelid, all over the eye. This is how I like to start a look typically. So there is quite a bit of kick up in the palette. That really doesn't bother me. I know it bothers a lot of people. I don't really get it. I'd definitely rather have something like that than something that's very hard pressed that you have to grind into, that you can't get pigment up. I guess it is a little bit messy, but that doesn't really bother me, but there's definitely that kick up and a little bit of messiness on the palette. But to me, that tells me it's gonna be a good eyeshadow. Might lead to some fallout though when we get into the deeper colors. So my eyeshadow base is set, and I'm going to start creating a transition. I'm going to use this shade here, Strawberry. Again, there's a lot of kick up. I think all these shades are gonna be like that, so the palette's gonna get pretty artistic pretty quickly. This is a pretty shade. It shows up on my skin tone decently. It's light enough that I could blend it out with other deeper colors, but not completely invisible, so I appreciate that, but I am pretty fair. This is really just like an interesting blending color, this like strawberry milk kind of peachy pink color. It's kind of pretty, it's really pretty actually. So far we're blending out really quickly, really beautifully with these shadows. I feel like I want to use every single eyeshadow. I'm not sure, I have no idea what kind of look I want to create here, but I just want to kind of have fun with it. So I think the next color I want to go in with is the mustard shade. This is called Worm, not Warm, Worm. So that other shade I kind of put above my crease. Since my eye is hooded, I'm putting this one more in my natural crease, more towards the outer corner, not all the way through to the inner corner. Just trying to build up some color on both sides. And I'm also, by the way, using the Royal Enlightened Nickel Omnia BOM 45 crease brush. there's like a ton of pigment on my eyes. I have a little bit of awkwardness with the blending right on this eye. That does happen to me sometimes. I feel like it's more like primer that wasn't fully blended out rather than the eyeshadow not blending. But overall, it's not really too obviously sticking, and I think I do have like a ton of pigment on my eyes, and it's looking really blown out and really pretty already. So I think I want to go in with this deeper brown shade, which is called Wolf. And with all of these colors, I'm kind of gradually building color and gradually going outward. So the first color was above the crease and went all the way into the inner corner. Now I was in my natural crease with Worm, right underneath, and not all the way to the inner corner, but kind of a little over halfway. And now this color, Wolf, I'm taking it more towards the outer corner and underneath that Worm color, the mustard color. These eyeshadows are really super gorgeous in their quality. I'm just going back in with that new highlighting kind of shade just to kind of clean up the blending at the top of my brow. So one thing I will say about this palette is it is pretty neutral in the sense that you're gonna have to pick like half of the colors and stick with them. I don't necessarily think they all go together in a cohesive look. I think it's really nice for if you want to go with like a pretty basic warm neutral look or a pretty basic cool neutral. I think you can do that. You can stay cool if you kind of stick with the black, and then this shade, the second shade, which is called Cold, which is a perfect name for it. You could stay kind of cool with those shades, or you can go more warm with some of these reds and this pink. So I think I've kind of ended up going a little bit more warm. I would say the brown is a little neutral. You could use it in a cooler, warm tone look. So let's see, what do I want to do on my lid? I want to go in with this orange. I think I'm going to go in with the red on my lid, and then towards the inner corner I'm going to do the orange. So the red is called Blood. I love these names, by the way. They're pretty obvious in terms of describing the colors. Not obvious, but they're pretty telling of the colors. Wow, this blood shade is super, super pigmented and beautiful. Like there was no building. Like you just put it on the lid and it's full pigment. These are really cool. Not really getting too much fallout, if any, which is really nice, especially considering that these are so powdery in the palette. This red shade is really incredible. Like just tap and there's like pure color, and it's like blended out pretty much for you. It's not even like you have to like work too hard to blend these out at all. Even such an intense color like the red, it's just looks beautiful right on contact. Pretty amazed by these shadows so far. So pretty. It'll be exciting to see if Black Moon comes out with other eyeshadow palettes that are more colorful. I would absolutely die for eyeshadows like these in a bunch of bright colors. That would be really cool, though I'm not sure that's their aesthetic. But even if they go for some kind of jewel tones or something like that, I feel like it would just be so fun to have something of this quality in a rainbow array of shades. So I said I was going to go in with this orange, which is called Harvest. Again, very telling of the color. It's like a very nice fall kind of color. I'm just going to bring this in more on the inner. Not really a highlighty shade, but it's just, I'm just trying to create a gradient with this lighter color towards the inner, and then that blood red color in the middle of the lid. Orange is like very similar type of quality to the red. It's really, really pretty. It pops a little bit more. It's not super different in color tone from the red, where you can tell them quickly apart on my lid, but it's a nice gradient. They pair really well together. There's not too much contrast between those two colors. I like that I put this in the inner corner because I feel like there's a little more of a pop on this orange color than on the red. And this brush is really nice too. I feel like I'm easily able to pack on color. There's a little bit of a tapering, not a tapering, but like a thinness in the tip of this brush, so it's not like a super blending brush where I have no control. I have a nice amount of control with this. And I think they're coming out with a full line of brushes. I heard that the free brush that people are getting. They're all different brushes. It's not just this one brush. So I think eventually they're gonna have like a whole set for sale, or, you know, individual brushes for sale. And depending on the price, I would definitely consider getting some more brushes if they were a good price. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my concealer. I typically like to clean up and sharpen the edge of my eyeshadow with my concealer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in the shade Fair Neutral. I don't know if you could see that. There's like this messiness where the blending kind of got a little messed up over here. I think that was in the process of me doing my concealer. That's a little bit odd. I don't usually see that when I'm cleaning up. Maybe that was there before and I just didn't notice. But that is a little odd. I'll try to clean up a little bit more on this eye with my concealer. I'm going to go in with my Kat Von D Basket Case Anti-Precision Eyeliner in my waterline, and I'm also going to smoke this out on the lower lash line, but I'll start in my waterline. So now I'm putting the eyeliner underneath. So I'm going to start by blending out the cream eyeliner under my eyes with this MAC 219 pencil brush, and then I might put one of the shades from the palette, blend that in as well. But I just want to blend out this eyeliner first. On my lower lash line. So I'm just gonna smoke out my lower lash line even further with the black shade. It's called Black in this Black Moon palette. So by the end of this, I'm gonna have very raccoony underneath eyes probably, but I want to do that. I want it very smoky, very grungy. I'm feeling a little angsty today, so I think this will be perfect. So that is my lower lash line completed. I got a little more black pencil and liner than I wanted to on this side of my eye, outer crease area, so I just kind of tried to match it on this side. But I definitely like this black. I feel like it's super deep black. It blended out really nicely, again, especially for a black, and none of these shades really had any fallout, which was really amazing, really beautifully pressed. A little bit of kick up in the pan, but now that they're on my eye, they're not super messy. They didn't get everywhere. They basically went almost, actually they went pretty much everywhere I wanted them to go. Which to me is a good eyeshadow, where you're happy with your final look. You apply things the way you want them to apply and they come out the way that you wanted to apply them. So now I'm priming my eyelashes. I don't often wear falsies, so this is my little technique to get really intensely thick, long, voluminous lashes. So I'm using the Subversion Lash Primer by Urban Decay. I'm going to curl my lashes using the NYX eyelash curler. I'm going to go in with the Ciate Wonder Wand mascara. This is a bomb mascara. Repeating the same 2 steps on my lower lash line. So that is the eyes done. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my face, and I will be right back. So I have finished my foundation, blush, highlight, and now I'm going to finish off my look with the Black Moon liquid lipstick in the shade Armageddon. This is really cool. It's like a blackened metallic red color. So that's the completed look. I really love how everything turned out. The eyeshadows from the Black Moon Cosmetics Orb of Light Full Moon palette pretty much blended themselves. They're super pigmented, super pretty, really grungy, neutral kind of colors. I know everybody feels like, oh, we have a million of these palettes, but this is a really ideal shade selection. You could do a lot of fun things with this. You can't really, I feel like you can't necessarily put all of these colors into one look, but it's really nice for like if you want to do a cool tone look, or if you want to do a warm tone look, or if you want to do a neutral look. And there is such depth and pigment to these colors that the looks are going to come out a little bit gothic and grungy. So I definitely think that this is an appropriate palette, first palette for Black Moon Cosmetics to come out with. I really, really love this eyeshadow look. I think the liquid lipstick is also really cool with this. I feel like I have a nice, really grungy, gothy, cool girl kind of look going on. So I really do like this whole thing. They actually have shades of liquid lipstick that have similar names. Like I know there's a Harvest shade and a Worm shade. I definitely want to get this. There's like a fall themed trio of liquid lipsticks. I think that's the next purchase I'm going to make from Black Moon. I'm really into these colors. I really love these eyeshadows. They perform just as well, if not better, than I expected them to. So I would definitely recommend this palette. It is a little bit pricey. It was over $50 with shipping and everything like that for me to just get the palette, but I definitely think it's worth it. I think it's worth it because you're getting eyeshadows that work really well and are going to give you a really beautiful look. It's one thing to have shadows that are really inexpensive, but then if you're working with them and you're making all the right moves and you don't like your eyeshadow look, then is it really worth it to get something cheaper when you can get something that is a little bit more expensive but is going to make you happy with your eyeshadow look? I would say go with something that has the quality to it as well. I just wanted to note as well that there is 17 grams of product in this. 0.67 ounces. It does seem like a decent amount of product from what I could see in the pans right here, and this is an incredible quality. I definitely think that they worked on this for a while. I believe they said they worked on it for a couple of years. I definitely believe that they were working on this formula for a really long time because it's a really beautiful formula. Probably one of the best formulas I've tried. I will leave a note in my description box if they had any problems with the staying power. I doubt that there would be any problem with the staying power, but that would be the only thing that would make me deter me from thinking the opinion that I have now is that they're awesome eyeshadows. So yeah, these are really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with these swatches. I'm gonna do the first color, the new color, which is the large color in the center. That's new right there. See, it's just very much blending into my skin tone, but there's definitely no lack of pigmentation on that. The next shade I'm going to do is the pink shade called Strawberry. So that's Strawberry right there. Cold is the next shade I'm going to do. This gray, slightly grayish, but mostly true gray kind of color right here. Cold right there. The next shade I'm going to do is Worm, which is the mustard shade. You could see that there's a little bit of powderiness to these swatches. They look like they might not blend very well, but they blend absolutely beautifully on the eye, and their pigmentation is there, but you could definitely see that little bit of powderiness, which gives you that kick up in the pan, but when they come to blending on the eye, there's no fallout, so I have no problem with that. And the next shade is Harvest, which is the orange shade. The next shade is Blood, which is the red shade, which was absolutely gorgeous on the eyelid. There was no actual packing necessary, it was just pure pigment. Blood right there. The deep brown shade called Wolf is next. Right there. And the last shade is the black, and you can see the pigmentation on this black. It's like a pure black. It's not a black that grays out, it's just black. That completes this video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe. Have a good one. Bye guys.